Well, I guess if we were to pick a word to describe the past week, it would be frustrating, and I guess there's also a sense of it being a bit of a missed opportunity as well.
Well, yeah, the looking in ahead of the week, when we looked at the two games, given that obviously we knew we had a break in the league programme, we did speak about how it was important to pick up these points, to just keep picking up points really, but we haven't managed to do that. Both performances have had different sort of problems in the performances. The Blackpool one was very clear, as in we didn't defend anywhere near well enough as a team. And then the complete opposite against Shrewsbury, where we didn't keep the ball and didn't have the quality on the ball and attack well enough in that game. So yeah, two disappointing results and two disappointing performances. But nothing that I don't think we can fix.
No, I suppose it's one that you just file under the nature of football, really. I think we've spoken about it before. You know that these moments are going to happen in a season.
Yeah, I feel that you very, very rare do you go through a season without some hiccups and defeats. And I think the manner of the game against Blackpool was, I don't think that would happen again in terms of the goals we lost. I wouldn't like to think so in terms of the 4 of them, and the game against Shrewsbury was one that we just totally lacked quality in possession of the ball. And that was a real, when I watched it back on Wednesday morning, a real clear pattern to me was we just couldn't get a first pass off, we didn't get into the areas we'd worked on, and really we just didn't execute the plan that we'd worked on from the Monday. So that was disappointing, but we know that what we've got in the squad, we know the quality we've got, we just need to get back to the standards that we've set already.
Yeah, and as you were saying last week, frustrating that it's turned out with the 2 defeats just because of how the fixtures fall and you've got that gap in the League One schedule, but you've just got to get on with it.
Yeah, I think I've been fairly consistent in the fact that I've not really looked at the league position in terms of I've just looking at points and certain points targets I feel we need to get. We're a little bit short at the moment now, obviously. We were right up there, but obviously getting 1 point in the last 3 games has meant that we're a little bit short, but nothing that we can't get back. I feel that, but we've just got to maintain our standards and look at why we didn't perform in the last 2 games. Certainly on Tuesday we have to look at why we were so flat. The tempo was so slow, the quality was so poor. The first thing I always do as a manager is look at, right, what could I have done different? Could I kept a diamond? Could I have played 3 at the back? Did I make the correct decision playing 4-4-2? And then that'll always be thrown at a manager in terms of how you set up a team tactically. The game was in complete isolation to what I wanted to do in terms of we knew we didn't have a league game on a Saturday, so I looked at it and the fact that the space would have been in those areas. We didn't execute the plan. So, but again, you always have to look at yourself first. But certainly the quality and more the tempo on Tuesday was just missing. So that was disappointing. But there's ways of how we can hopefully improve that.
Yeah, and I think you see that with most styles, tactics, ways of playing. If you don't have the tempo to get to where you want to be is quite tricky.
It is very tricky, and the part you've got to accept that football doesn't change in the sense that when you're going well, everyone's happy to praise you and you get the praise and you take that for what it is. But when you fall below your standards and your performances and in particular results, then you have to face the criticism and accept the criticism for what it is. And that's just part and parcel of the game, whatever that may be. But as a manager and as a group of players that we've got, we've had a good meeting this morning in terms of we've got to make sure that we continue our standards and keep our standards every day and in particular in games, and clearly we've fallen short of that. And when we do, it's proved that we're not going to win games.
Yeah, it's a big thing to learn, isn't it? And if you're a George Boyd and you've been there and done it, you know exactly how it works in these situations. If you're a younger player, it's that much more unfamiliar, but yeah, you have to get through it.
Yeah, you do, but we've gone through in real detail, about, okay, where do we need to improve? What do we need to do? The players have spoke this morning There's been very vocal in terms of what we feel that the areas we need to do better. Where we've obviously done well is clear, and we've gone through it, and now we've got to make sure that we get back to that. And the one thing I know we've got the players to do it. There's no question about that.
And ahead of any game, there's always a sense of drawing a line under the previous match to a greater or lesser degree, particularly with the FA Cup this weekend. I think you mentioned it on Tuesday night. You've just got to focus on getting through this game, through the next one, and into the third round.
Yeah, I mean, it may have fallen at the right time for us. It's a different tournament. There's a freshness to it. It's quite geographically, it's quite a local one. We'll take a good support. The FA Cup brings that different type of atmosphere because it's a cup match. So perhaps it's come just at the right time for us. It's a game I'm really looking forward to, and it's a game we've played Stevenage, over a number of years, quite a few times, and always been tough games, and it'll be another one on Saturday. Yeah,
are they beginning to find their feet a little bit because they've had a difficult season so far?
Yeah, they have. They've had a difficult season. They've changed manager, but really Saturday is about us getting back to the levels that we have shown over a fairly consistent period. It's about us and us making a performance, making sure our quality's back in our passing, our movement. These are the things I'm looking at, making sure that we cut out these individual areas, which I'm sure we will. So it's all about us on Saturday.
Is there a feeling as well, if you can do things properly and get through to the third round, that you're probably owed a bigger tie? I think we've spoken about it before, where in the past when you've been here, you haven't really quite managed to land what you might call a really big one.
Yeah, when I say the third round, I mean, when you look at you go through what you want to do at the start of the season and your ambition, then when you get to the FA Cup, you say, okay, the first area we need to get to, if we can, is the third round. And that's the ambition at the moment. After that, obviously you clearly want to go further than that, but you get the point that let's get to the third round if we can, and then see what it takes us. We have to obviously get past the first round first, but that's the aim, that we need to get in that third round if we can.
You still looking good fitness wise?
Yeah, the only one's Boyd, who's he's been playing with a problem in his knee. Been restricting him a little bit, and you would have to say he's a major doubt for Saturday.
Right, and then I suppose when it comes to how you look at the front part of the team, you've got many exciting options. There's quite a lot you can change around. It's just picking the right one.
Yeah, you've got different options in whatever shape we play. We've got Ward that's played there. Midfield wise, you got Woodyard, you got Mason that can play in there. You got young Burrows. And the thing with Burrows is he would give you the balance of the left foot. So Saha, we've got plenty of options, and in terms of the lineup of the team, there won't be too many changes going into Saturday.
Yeah, and clearly Ivan Toney around this weekend, but he will miss the next league game, and he brings so much to the team, doesn't he? Not only his goals, but in terms of how he lends shape to the whole front part of the side. So a bit of food for thought there.
Yes, he's the one player that we've got in that striker and forward area that's got the physicality and the height and strength to get us up the pitch when we need to maybe go a bit different. His form has been outstanding this season, and we were always worried that once he got to 4 bookings, he would pick up one before the Portsmouth match. So unfortunately he's done that, and he's going to miss the game next week. But really, I've got 2 games before then. We've got obviously the 2 cup matches before then, and that's all I'm concentrating on. Burton will take care of itself. The simple fact is, someone else has to come in. So whoever that is has now got an opportunity, regardless of whether Ivan's been scoring so many goals or whoever it is. If someone comes in and bags a hat-trick, then they've got a hell of a chance of staying in the team. So whoever it is has got to take that chance, and also whoever plays on Saturday and Tuesday, whoever it is, has got to take the chances. And that's the important thing about having a squad. Whoever plays in whatever game it is, all they've got to concentrate on is doing their best to try and get in the team.